Have you ever wondered if you should engage in a business or start a job or follow into employment, or you should combine? And what are the dynamics for each? What does it take to be in each? So today is what we are going to talk about. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching me from. Welcome to the Mariposa Hub by Nagia Daido. This is where we are all about intentional and transformative living. In this episode, we talk about jobs versus business. By way of introduction, we'll deal with general definition um, of what a job is and what a business is. A job is more of a part-time or a full-time piece of work or employment, um, characterized by working under someone who determines your working hours, they determine your salary or remuneration, and your general terms of work. So that's what is characterized by a job. But a business is more of an organization or an entity where it's geared towards achieving a particular commercial objective. So then what are the similarities between jobs and businesses? We see that both of them, they generate income. They allow you to gain something out of it. Then the next thing that they require a level of application of skill and knowledge, whether in the job or in the business. You need to apply yourself. You need to apply knowledge. You need to apply skill. Then the next similarity is that both of them bring a sense. They can bring a sense of satisfaction to the individual. As you go towards your day-to-day living, you can experience joy or satisfaction as you engage in that activity. Then what are the differences between your job and the business? So I'll take through at a heading and then talk about each. So number one is in terms of vision. For the job, the vision does not belong to the individual. It belongs to the organization or the owner. So the person is working towards, the individual is working towards attaining the vision of the boss, not theirs in most instances, unless their own vision is aligned to the organizational vision. But then in the business, the vision belongs to the owner. They are the ones who are working to ensure that it is achieved and it is attained no matter what. And also in the job, um, the person does not worry themselves about the strategic goals, the mission, the goals, and the planning. It's entirely on the organization. So they worry less about that. They just concentrate on their job description and what is required of them and go home. But for the business owner, they need to plan. They need to think about the vision. What steps are we making towards attaining the vision? So there's a wider scope for the business owner because everything depends on him. Then the next thing is on risks. For the job, the risks are low. They are lower because in terms of bearing the weight of the job, um, whether things go well or they don't go well, whether the business makes profit or not, the employee will require a salary at the end of the month. And so they don't carry much weight. What they just require is that they do the work they've been assigned and just expect something at the end of the reporting period. But for the the risks are higher for the business because the buck stops with the owner of the business. They need to ensure that every expense is catered for, whether there are profits or losses, they bear it all. When the market forces are there, they just have to bear it all. So the risks for the business um, venture, getting into business, are higher than just getting into a job. Then the next thing is on profit sharing. Um, you see that in a job, you might not get all the profits. Um, the You just are entitled to your salary. So the business can make 1 million, but because you only contracted to get a salary of, say, um, how much? 100,000. Maybe if your business is getting 1 million, 2 million. So you only get that even if the business makes way more uh, than what you wanted for what you contracted for your salary. But then for the business owner, they'll be entitled to the entire profit margin. So they can get, it is allowed for them to take that whole amount because they are taking that step to get into that. Then for the job, the salary remains the same unless, well, with periodic increments. So they cannot really grow so much in terms of your salary. But for the business, the profits can grow exponentially. You can make 1 million this year, the next year 2 million, and such like amounts. So the growth in terms of profit and the income is higher. The probability is higher in the business than in the job. Then the next thing is on the motivation factors, number 4 aspect that we are comparing. Most of the motivation factors for the person who is in a job is things like bonuses, rewards, promotions, recognition, and such kind of things. But in business, the business owner, what motivates them is more of the growth and success of the business, the profit they are making, the impact they are causing in the community. So those things are the ones which motivate the attainment of the vision that they had when the business began. So those things are the ones which motivate the business owner, but the job, the person who is in that job is just limited, is only motivated by those things most of the time, apart from the satisfaction. But most people may not really have the entire satisfaction. And then there's the aspect of stewardship, number 5, the comparison factor. You see that the person who is in a job, the care that they give to the job, the input, the effort is lower compared to the person who is in um, a business, because the person in the job knows that if things don't work out here, I can always apply for another job. But the person in the business, they know that this is where I am. Come rain, come sunshine, I have to make it work. And the employees can go, but you cannot go as the owner of that business. So their level of stewardship, of taking care of that entity, that business, is higher compared to the employee or the person who is just taking it as a job. And that is another difference that we find um, for the between the job and um, the business. Now we're going to talk about benefits and challenges of each jobs and businesses. So for jobs, the benefits include a steady income and job security. Most of the time, especially if you're in a permanent and pensionable job, like a number of jobs with the government. So we see that that steady income, that at the end of this period, mostly at the end of the month, you'll have something. That steady income allows for someone to opt for a job than getting into a business. The next advantage is that there's minimal stress in terms of leadership. and the strategic um, projection for the institution, because now you're not the founder, you're not the one in charge of determining the direction of that entity that you have been employed. So the strategic planning, the vision, goals, and all that is not for the employee most of the time. So that one, that minimal stress does not bother them much. So most people don't want to bother themselves with that whole planning, taking care of birthing of an idea, from when it's an idea to something that now comes to life and it is running. So most people don't want all that stress of just birthing something and sustaining it and allowing it to grow. So that whole journey, the person in a job is exempted from. The next thing is defined terms of work. You have a job description as you join employment, and your terms of hours and all that, although sometimes they are not observed. But that definition, most people like that clarity, that I know I'm supposed to do this, and this is my scope of operation and all that. So that level of clarity makes people to opt for jobs than getting into business. The next one is minimal capital investment when you get into a job. Most of the time when you're going to the job, it's just maybe money for your attire, compared to that is required for that institution, or transport for the first month as you try to get in before you get your salary. That those minimal expenses just getting into the institution. So there's no much expenses when you're getting in a job than compared to what is in a business. Then the next benefit of a job is that it is a training ground for your own personal business. If you take it positively, the job can be a training ground for you to know how to operate within given working hours. You can learn the work ethics. You can learn how to manage your time. You can manage how to do your goals, because those performance targets, those evaluations, when you become a supervisor, you know how to supervise fellow employees, fellow colleagues. So that one starts preparing you that when you get a time where you need to leap into a full-time business, then you have learned the tricks on how to manage an institution. So the job can also be a training ground for you to know how to manage people, how to manage output, how to manage the requirement when you utilize that time you're in employment. Then some of the challenges for being in a job is one is at the mercy of the employer. They are at the mercy of the boss. The boss says, determines what happens to you. If they don't like you, you can be fired anytime. You can be your work can be terminated anytime. And if you also need to go to the next, you need to create an impression to them, because when you're going to the next job, when you're switching jobs, they're the ones to give you the referee. They are your referees. So you need to create an impression. So if you don't, then the next employer will find difficult, will have a difficulty in employing you. So you need to also, again, to that creating an impression, you need to monitor how you behave, because you never know how they'll behave. Then some employers also, they overwork you without pay. So your hours, in as much as your contract might say 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, but your time can be added and then you don't get something out of it. So you are at the mercy of this boss. Some of them can harass you. So you're at their mercy. because also you just want the salary, you need to pay your bills, so you just stick there because of that. So that's another one of the biggest challenges of being in a job. The next is the fierce competition for promotions. Most of the time you have a number of employees in the organization, and every person is fighting for the same promotion, and there are even other people who are joining the institution. There'll be advertisement, external advertisement and internal advertisement. So many, every person is looking for the few limited slots, and you are a whole lot of you. So this makes that whole competition, you need to really do so much for you to get ahead. And some can get into unscrupulous methods to get those chances because of that fierce competition of getting those few slots in the job. Then there are value questions that come up in the job. Sometimes you can find that you join an institution but you don't agree with their values, the value of that institution. So you become at a disadvantage because that's the institution that you have found the job, that have hired you. Yet you don't agree with some of the values. So you just go along, you just flow despite of the discomfort that you're experiencing, uh, because again there are bills to be paid, so you just flow despite the challenge of the values that you don't agree with. So that's a challenge that you find yourself in when you're getting a job. The next is office politics. Office politics can really come in, and they really they become a challenge for you, especially if you don't like a lot of drama. Sometimes the job environment can create a lot of drama for someone, and you get kicked out because this one doesn't like you, this one is jealous, this one is this. So there can be a lot of drama in the job environment. Then one can get into a comfort zone. You become comfortable, you have a salary, you can plan yourself, you can take a loan, you can take a mortgage here, life is going by, you can pay your bills, so you just get comfortable. You now decide not even to think critically what you want with your life, your dreams, your goals. You forgo them for the sake, because you're already at a job, you have the basic needs met. So you get into a comfort zone, you let go of who you wanted to really become, what you wanted to pursue. So that comfort zone is another challenge that job tends to take us in. Yes, and then now we go to businesses. I hope you're learning, and you can subscribe and give this a like if you're getting content, and you can mention which of those cases have you find yourself as a challenge that you're facing. Now, in terms of business, the benefits, there's the independence that you get with a business. You're your own boss. You plan your time, how much time you can invest in your business. No one to fire you. Um, you can plan, today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing this. So you have that leeway of managing the business the way you know how, the way your nature can flourish in how you want to do your business. So yourself comes alive as you do your business. The touch, the unique touch about you comes out as you do your business because it's yours. You run it your style, you be you. Yes, so that's the beauty about a business. Then yeah, you generate in employment and create solutions for others, and you build others, you assist others, that you're doing something, because at some point as your business grows you need a team. So you create employment, you create solutions for others, and the government can you can get tax reliefs because of businesses tends to be get some reliefs over people who are in employment. So there's some bit of relief you get. So it pushes you up a bit with your income. Then you develop skills of others. You offer mentorship and guidance and impact lives. Your scope is wider on how much you can reach the people. So it's a benefit that you can have as you have a business. Then you can learn a new skills, multiple of skills. You need a lot of skills as you run a business. You need to do the strategic planning, you need to do budgeting, resource mobilization, marketing, budgeting, all that, people skills, networking. You learn a whole bunch of new skills and you grow yourself. So that's another benefit of having a business. Then you achieve your own vision, what you desired to achieve. You are able to have that leeway to see it come to being. You see it come alive as you put in the work, as those lives you wanted to reach out to, you see them come alive. So you achieve that vision, that desire that you wanted. Then the profits can grow exponentially and you absorb them all. They are yours. You decide how to utilize them. So that is a benefit that you get from a business. Then some of the challenges include finding investors. The whole resourcing for your business funds can be a challenge. Seeing so that the continuity and sustainability of the business continues. So that's another challenge. Then the fluctuating income. This month you can get good profit, the next month you're down, then the next month you're up, down. So that fluctuation, some people, it's a high risk for a number of people, so they prefer that steady, even if it's little, but you have it steady, than just maybe this month you have a lot, then the next month it's little. So there's need a lot of management, money management, so that when the months you have a lot, you can spread it out to cater for the rainy day. So there's a lot of risk planning, risk management that you need to do when you're in business. Then there are harsh business environments that you encounter, like the market forces, the supply and demand issues. You need to manage them, fluctuation of unethical practices, um, um, the, the, the marketing trends, the political interference, all those can be harsh sometimes, the environment for the business. So it requires that one watches out for those ones. Then there's a higher capital investment when you're starting a business compared to just the employment. So if depending on the how large you want your business to be, the capital investment is required, may be higher. The cost implication may be higher compared to a job. Then there's lots of effort and creativity that go into the business to ensure you get market, because there's competition. There are other people who are selling the same product. So how do you get yourself out there? How do you get known? How do you get clients despite the whole mix around many clients? So that's another thing that challenges, so that you break even. So that's something that's a weight that you need to carry as a business owner. Then there's the loss, when you make this making profit, and then there's the making losses. Now you absorb it all as the business owner. The business needs to know how to weigh, to take up that loss when you make losses. So that's another challenge that someone faces. And then you still make losses but still take care of your employees, and families are looking up to those employees, especially when you have grown your business. So you need to know. Then now if you need to downsize, now facing all that blame, then legal suits cases that you might face when you're taken to court. All those are expenses that you get when in business. Then so there are the question now we ask ourselves, are there people who are cut out for business and some people who are just cut out for jobs and employment? So this question normally arises because of our socialization and our education system. Most of the time it prepares us mostly for jobs, for employment, more than for being employers, the ones who generate businesses. We are geared, our mindsets are geared towards being hired than us wanting to create something that we can hire others. So that question is there, but we need to overcome it so that we are able to explore more. We have capacities that we have not explored. So we can challenge ourselves that in as much as you get entry through the job, but you have other capacities that you can explore, other dreams you can explore that you can venture into. Yes, so it is important that even as you're in a job, consider what are your deepest desires, that so that at the end of life you know that you have the people that you are to reach out, the lives that you're to impact, you impacted them, whether you're in the job or you are to do in another venture that you are to join in. You ask yourself, are there ways that I can generate solutions and employment for others, so that it's not just hand to mouth, but can I create something that will go beyond me alone? Yes, you can also, even as much as an employment, business is important because it supplements your your income, your salary. Most of the time, the salary might not even be enough for for all your expenses. So when you have something on the side, it really assists someone to meet all the financial obligations that they have to carry. Then there are times where one wants to transit from their job to business. So there's some uh, advice, some tips I've gotten from some financial experts who advise that before you make the leap now, quitting your job to just go fully into business, they advise that ensure that your side income from your business exceeds your expenses. That means it can cater for all your expenses. Then you have savings that can cushion you as you transit, maybe 6 months to 1 year. Um, they call it an emergency fund that can cushion you that period, so that whether the business works or not, at least you have something, your rent is paid for, and your other expenses. If you're in family, maybe your children have something to go to school. So ensure that you have some savings. Others start from 3 months, other 6 months to 1 year. So it's important you have some savings before you take the leap to transit completely. Then you're in a position where you can actually make your side business to be your main business. You have grown your side business to a level where it can be your full-time business. Then you're actually disciplined enough and determined to make your vision and your business work, because there's discipline. Sometimes as employees, even with the jobs, we are not disciplined enough. We don't maintain the discipline of going to a job. Yet when we go to business, we want to be employers and want our employees to observe our work ethics. So it's important that we learn the work ethics when we are employees, so that when we have the opportunity of being employers through our businesses, then it's easier to follow. It's easier to manage and to give examples, because we are leading by example. So you have that discipline and determination to make it work, despite the challenges that you will face, the harsh business environment, you are disciplined to make it work. Then you can work extra hours, actually in the conception and the as the as the business starts to pick up. There's a lot that needs to go into the business, so you are willing to put in the hours. Sometimes those hours can be even higher than the hours that you need for your employment, your job. So it's important that you're willing to put in the work, especially before the business now skyrockets. So and breaks even. So it's those are some of the tips I've found before you transit fully from your job to um, your business. Yes. So then, as we finish, I'll give some quotes that I've found about jobs and businesses that will be helpful to remind us what to engage in. So I hope those sharing is has enabled you to know how we are going to venture. Will you take a job? Will you take business? Or will you combine to a point then now you transit? Um, I hope that gives you a good picture and a background to help you in making that decision. So the quotes, the first one is from Steve Jobs. He says, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. So that's Steve Jobs. Then Confucius says, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Choose a job you love. If now you find yourself in your employment and you have to do a job, choose one that you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. That means you just be enjoying yourself even when you're at the job, at the workplace. Not that you dread going to the office, you dread that whole journey. So do something you love and you will enjoy being there. Then Albert Einstein says, in the middle of difficulty lies an opportunity. This mostly is in the business, even in the jobs, where there's a difficulty, an opportunity is there. Like Samson would say, where there's a dead lion, there was honey that was found there. So some situations can be dark, but some sweetness can come out of those hard situations. Yes, then Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So you need to know, decide that you can and you can make it. But when you say, you tell yourself that you can't, then you won't. So decide what of those. Can you make it? Can't you make it? Yes. Then Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill says, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Success is not final. You'll have a number of successes, and failure is not fatal. It will not finish you. Failure will not kill you. But what counts is the courage to continue even after you've either gone through the success or through the failure. That courage to continue is what matters most. That's Winston Churchill. And the final one is from Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon. He says, I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. Yes, I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. Like if I fail, I know I tried, I put an effort. But one thing that I might regret, I'm actually regret, is not trying. So if you don't try, you won't even get the yes or the no. You wouldn't, your possibility of either succeeding or failing are zero. So actually not trying may cause more regret than actually trying. So what is it that you need to try? Is it that business that you need to try? Is it that step you need to take, that leap, that growing your business until it's something that can be a full-time, something that you can do full-time, or if it's that job, what do you need to do so that then it becomes more enjoyable? Um, if, is there a transition that you need to make? Ask yourself those questions so that you are doing yourself the best service, so that you're not leaving someone else, you're not mark timing. This year we are being intentional. We want to be our best. We want to do. We want to make our lives count. We don't have forever. Each day is precious. We only have today. So let's make today count by making those decisions that are going to help us move forward. Yes, thank you. This is Mariposa Hub. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that was helpful. I would love to hear from you. Let's send your comments in. You can like and subscribe to the channel so that you get more content. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye bye.